Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is our brand new show, Tough Talking Thursday. Welcome. We are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In today's edition of Tough Talking Thursday, joining us is FOL Chief Political Analyst, Mr. Wilmot Kunney. Mr. Kunney, welcome to Tough Talking Thursday.
Thank you, Dennis. Always happy to be back.
Joining us from the nation's capital, Monrovia, is the political leader of the Vision for Liberia's Transformation, Dr. Jeremiah Z. Whapoe. Dr. Whapoe, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you, Mr. Jar, and thank you to our listeners.
We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. We want to talk tough today because the issues confronting our nation deserve some tough talking. And in today's edition, we have few issues that we want to talk about. Number one, harmonization, good old harmonization. Harmonization. Even the data in Liberia has been harmonized. We have some mysterious death, from the death of Mr. Innes to the death of EPS Melvin Early. There are some mysterious deaths that are unexplained. We're going to be delving into those. Lately, the House of Representatives passed a bill for tuition-free public colleges and universities. And last but not the least, there's a new kid on the block, the People's Liberation Party of Dr. Cassell. How threatened is Dr. Whapoe and the vote with this new kid on the block? Again, gentlemen, welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is the first time we are presenting this show, Tough Talking Thursday. How do you feel talking tough tonight, Dr. Whapoe?
Well, I think it's a good thing to talk tough, not only talk tough, but talk tough and talk sense. And what matters to the people, talk it and let it make sense. So I hope that we will be making some sense here tonight, where our listener will have a meaning to listen to always turn into this program to listen, because I think talking tough is better, but talking sense is more better than just talking tough.
Mr. Kunney, you are an analyst, and so most of the time you want to be very careful. Are you ready to talk tough?
Well, I'm ready to talk tough in a discussion. You know, I've always considered this platform as one of the platforms that is dedicated to conscientizing our people, which is very critical in the political process. So to the extent that we can contribute to elevating the debate, to the extent that we can all provide basic information that guide our people, we will talk tough within those parameters.
Thank you. At the beginning of the show, we play a song by T. Michaels where he say, "I don't need your Tabata." For those of you who don't know what Tabata is, if you visit the Southeast, the choir group or the crew speaking group, Tabata is foolishness, nonsense. So tonight we're going to be discussing some issues, and if it is Tabata, please don't be afraid to tell us that this is complete nonsense. It's Tabata, because we have to come to a point to tell policymakers, to even tell ourselves, our fellow Liberian citizens, political leaders, if it is Tabata, let's call it as it is. Let's do this. Good old harmonization. We saw that quite recently, you know, there was this harmonization started almost 2 years now. And Dr. Whapoe, you are on the ground. How is harmonization working?
Well, the first thing is, let's look at the term harmonization. What are you trying to find harmony with? And if you're finding harmony with something, that means there should be coexistent agreement with something. So the term harmonization, I think it's a musical term versus being a financial term. Okay, when thing is in harmony, that means they agree with one another. And what we are seeing in Liberia here, you cannot cut somebody's salaries into half. They say harmony. What's harmony? What's harmonization about that? It's not in harmony with anything. So I think firstly, what we should look at is the terminology is used in the wrong place for the wrong reason. I don't think there's nothing in harmony in Liberia. What we see in Liberia, things fall apart. When things fall apart, the center can no more hold. That's what you see here today. Liberia saying there is no more holding. Everybody has a divergence of view on the way the economy is going on in Liberia, and you cannot be in recession. Then you say you're harmonizing somebody's salary. You cannot be in recession. Then you diminish somebody's salary and expect that the person will buy, because what brings economic recession is unemployment. What brings economic recession is when the buyers are no more buying, when the borrowers are no more borrowing, it brings economic recession. So if you will go and cut somebody's salary, I think what will happen there is that people will carefully choose how to use their money. And so those are some of the things that are causing the economic downfall of Liberia today. So I don't think anything is in harmony with anything in Liberia right now. Things are falling apart, so the center can no more hold.
Thank you. Mr. Kunney, Dr. Whapoe is saying, harmony is a musical term. Why bring in financial matters in the first place? And you and I are not in Liberia, but we see the effect of harmonization. What are you hearing?
Well, listen, I disagree that harmonization can only be applied in the musical areas. Harmonization basically is an attempt to bring agreement, to bring similarity, to bring exactitude to various variables. Inconsistencies, resolving inconsistencies to make them consistent. That's harmonization. Even though we're not on the ground, but we can all understand the sense that harmonization makes, because no one can justify, for example, why a secretary that worked at the Ministry of Labor, a government secretary that worked at the Ministry of Labor should make $300, and another secretary that worked at the Ministry of Finance should be making $1,000. What explain that discrepancy? Why explain that discrepancy? So I think the process was worth the action the government took. And to be honest with you, I really commend the government for expending their political capital in that direction, because it is a tough thing. It is a tough thing to do these things, but at the same time, it raises morale. It raises morale in the sense that people are getting paid for equal work. The same amount of work you do at Ministry of Labor as a secretary is not different. Is not different from what another secretary does, either at the executive mansion or at the Ministry of Finance, for which that secretary should make more money than the other secretary.
Yeah. Mr. Kunney, have you heard in this harmonization process where someone money has gone up? Let's say, we have discrepancy, right? You talk about the secretary. Someone make 300, the other secretary made 400, and the other secretary made 500. So if we harmonize it, what's happening here? Are we harmonizing it to 400, which is the average, or we are going to the lowest dollar amount?
The information that is provided is that certain category of government employees did get a pay raise from the harmonization, and certain category of government employees were not affected because of the level of their salary. But the basic thing is that people working in similar positions across government should be making the same
Mr. Kunney, can I
That
have
is
a
the
conversation
basic point.
interlude? Mr. Kunney, can I have a conversation interlude? Could you give us some specificity of the government, certain government officials or certain government employees who were not affected? Because people are affected up to $100 level. So could you please give some specificity of people who are making money and their salary were not quote unquote harmonized?
The government clearly stated that people that make below $1,000 salary were not harmonized. That is the position of the government. That was communicated to the public.
1,000 LD, you mean? Liberian dollars?
Well, I don't know what currency, but it said those who make $1,000, their salary was not harmonized.
So
I don't know.
What you could do is that what is sometimes written is different than what is actually done. And I want you to judge on the reality that is happening on the ground. and there's nowhere you say, are they harmonizing to the upper limit or they're harmonizing to the lower limit? Like one of the things that you're supposed to investigate, whether there's a harmonization of equilibrium here. There's nothing like that, okay? And the idea that saying that the terminology is a musical term, when you're doing when you're harmonizing, you're finding agreement. So what is happening here, I think what the government should have done is to audit these various positions, because you can go to some offices, you will see one piece of job, 15 people are assigned on that job. We need to audit these responsibilities that have been attached to certain individuals. Then you cut down those who are not prepared to do this piece of job. Then those who are prepared to do the piece of job, they'll be able to get it. But this is not the case here. What they are doing here is that, for example, you have in an office, one secretary is supposed to be there. You put 6 secretaries there, they say, let's divide the money. Is that what you call harmonization?
No,
that's what happened here.
That's not the message that is being relayed. The message that what I'm saying, the basic concept of harmonization that I support is that people that do similar work should have similar pay.
Okay, Joe, but I am speaking.
Hold on, Dr. Whapoe. Hold on, Dr. Whapoe. Okay.
There cannot be a justification why a driver that is at the Ministry of Transport is making $200, but a driver who drives at the executive mansion makes $1,000.
Right.
That was in that.
Yeah, Mr. Kunney, that was the intent of the harmonization.
Right.
What Dr. Whapoe is saying is what is happening on the ground, because we know that there was an influx or there was an increase in people working in these offices. So what I heard is instead of having, let's say, what's the need of increasing the number of people in an office and just spreading the same $100, spreading it all over them, right? So
yeah, that's what happened.
Harmonization, and it is very unfortunate that they are only harmonizing salaries. We don't even know the job description, because these things too supposed to be harmonized, right? These things supposed to be looked at. Okay, the secretary at finance, what is the secretary doing? What are the job responsibilities? The secretary at commerce or the secretary at youth and sport, what are they doing? Right? Instead, we are only talking about salaries, and then we are increasing the employees and still harmonizing the salary. For me personally, I have not heard where anyone whose salary has been harmonized get any pay raise. It is always harmonizing to the lower limit. But let Dr. Whapoe.
But then, okay.
But yeah, let me bring in Dr. Whapoe. Is Dr. Whapoe?
Yeah. So if you talk about harmonization, that is why I'm asking. If you talk about somebody working to Ministry of Finance and they make $200, and working to Ministry of Commerce and make $1,000, there are a few variables we should look at. What is the person's longevity in this position? What is the person's superiority in this position? What is the person's qualification they are bringing on the table to do this? These are all variables that we'll look at. Not because you brought somebody in today from high school and they may have been here for 10, 15 years doing this job, then you harmonize the salary to the lower limit or to fit with the person that you brought. That's not fair to the person. We should be able to respect people for the job they have done for a certain period of time. That's what made a person to be public servant. If you serve in a position for certain length of time, this is right for you to have the emolument attached to it. But this is not the case. You cannot harmonize people salary to the lowest limit just because you want to certify somebody's that you brought in that might not have the qualification of the person that has been doing the job for a certain period of time. So are we in a harmonization? Are we taking into account the duration of the person at this position? If we should consider it, then there's no need that you bring this person's salary to a lower limit, because that's job experience. The person has experience more than the person that's just coming in. Are we looking at that? If we're not looking at that, they will be making mistakes. Are we also looking at the qualification the person is bringing on the table? You might be doing the same job I'm doing, but I'm bringing more on the table more than you. Are we looking at that? These are various variables that we'll look at. Not necessarily because the person is working in the Ministry of Finance and he makes $200 in the same position, and the person that just coming from high school or just coming with a first degree to make the same money. I don't think that is fair, and you know that is not fair.
Mr. Kunney, you work with government here, right? And there's pay grade, not necessarily exact amount, right? There's always a range. Share your experience with the city of Philadelphia pay.
And basically, this is the point I want to make. We look at the government as one entity. The government of Liberia is one entity. All the civil servants and all employees of the government, they work with one entity, the GOL. Now, people, what the brother is talking about, I understand that.
Mr. Kunney, are you answering my question?
I'm answering, but let me I'm laying a premise.
Oh, okay.
I understand that. The Civil Service Agency of the Republic of Liberia supposed to do what is called job classifications. People are paid. You asked me for the city of Philadelphia. At the city of Philadelphia, people are paid per job classification. Job classification. People are not paid by degrees. They're not paid by how many degrees you owe. If you have 5 degrees, but you occupy a particular job classification, you and other people in that job classification get paid the same amount, irrespective of
and what put people in that job? That's that job classification.
What put you in that classification is the minimum requirement that the city calls for you to be higher in that qualification. So, for example, if the city say they want auditors, and the requirement for becoming an auditor is to get a bachelor's degree in accounting to be an auditor. If you are hired as an auditor, you make that salary of the auditor just like any other person who applied for the same position as an auditor, even if that person is a CPA. The person is not being paid CPA. The person is being paid for that particular grade of auditor position that the city gave. That's how it is done. That's how you maintain uniformity. Now, the experience and other things like that, these things are laid out. If you work 5 years, this is how much you make. If you work 10 years, this is how much you make. But what we're talking about here, the arbitrary.
You're on mute.
Plus, the government does not explain that.
All right.
It doesn't explain that. So you need a formula that will capture that situation where people who are similarly employed in similar position are paid in similar amount of money. And I don't think there is anything wrong with that concept. Now,
right.
If the implementation of that concept is problematic, we can discuss that. But we cannot say that the concept is wrong. The concept is not wrong. If you are secretary, you're secretary.
So before Dr. Whapoe come in, what do you know, Mr. Kunney, about the implementation? Because let's say we'll give an example of Philadelphia. So a secretary who has been there 10 years and a secretary coming in today, should they make the same money? Because
no, you don't make the same money. Because you just the secretary that is just coming in today has a beginning salary where to start, and there are grades for you to go up. Right. So you cannot make the same money as the secretary who has been there for 10 years. But what
do you understand about this harmonization that is doing?
But what is lacking, what was in the Liberian system is that it was not taking into account what time people came in. These were arbitrary salaries that people were paying to other people across government. It didn't matter whether you came in first or you came in last. These were all arbitrary salaries that people were paying to people at their respective ministries. It was not taking into consideration qualification. It was not taking into consideration longevity. No.
Right.
These were arbitrary
Thank
salaries.
you.
So the harmonization is supposed to bring these things into harmony, qualification, tenure, and all of these things.
Yeah, it's supposed to. What is it doing? That's why you are not telling us. But let me go to Dr. Whapoe. And there's some information here. Say government harmonization process has affected 66,538 employees. Mr. Kunney, is not what it's supposed to do, is what is it doing now? Dr. Whapoe, your turn.
Well, I like Mr. Kunney's insinuation, but where Mr. Kunney is having a little glitch is that he's comparing concept with indicators. There's a fine line between concept and indicator. The indicator, you have a concept, but the indicator that's supposed to show the concept, to show that the concept is working, the indicator here is different from the concept. So the indicator and the concept, they are not harmonized anyway, Mr. Kunney. Look at it that way. Okay, we're supposed to see the indicator that will tell you that this concept, because the indicator is the one that actually shows the concept. You do not see the concept, but you can see the indicator. You cannot see poverty, but you can see how the living condition of somebody can indicate that the person is poor. So now, what are the indicators? It's a clear question. I'm showing you that your quote unquote harmonization concept is good and is working. What are the indicators you can see to show that the concept that you're talking about is working? Because the indicator that is here does not show to me that the concept is a reality. What is the indicator that you can tell me? Because you're trying to confuse concept and indicator here. There's no indicator that will tell me that the salary here are being harmonized in a way that we understand harmonization, in a way that what you are explaining, the concept that you are explaining is what is being done with the harmonization. So what is the indicator that here that show that the concept that you're talking about is working with the indicator so far?
Well, look, listen, the effectiveness of the program is not going to be based on your individual assessment of it. The government had a policy, they had a policy goal that they wanted to achieve to bring salaries of public servants across the spectrum in uniformity. That was the goal of the government. According to the government has indicated that by that policy, they have in fact increased the salaries of thousands of other government employees. If that is not, if the story is not true, come and bring the statistics, bring the information. But what I'm saying, you see, sometimes when we get into this discussion, we bring our own conjecture into it. What I'm saying, my principal position here is that the concept of harmonization is not wrong. The government was bold, the government was courageous to pursue that, because it don't make sense for a secretary.
Mr. Kunney, let me stop you.
To make more than another secretary. It make no sense.
Yeah, so, Mr. Kunney, you keep talking about the concept of harmonization. I think we passed that level of concept. We're talking about what's happening. What's the reality, right?
Huh? The reality is that the government has indicated that they've achieved their objective. Government salaries are harmonized.
So
people are being paid.
Can I make an interjection?
Listen,
hold on, Dr. Whapoe.
Listen, the government that implemented the policy has indicated that their policy has achieved the policy goals. People's salaries are harmonized. They are paying government employees. We're making another argument that because the harmonization may have impacted the salary of somebody, is creating economic recession. That's another argument. That is not to say that the policy did not work the way it was intended. You're making another argument.
The intent of the policy was just to make salary level.
Exactly. That's the intent of the policy.
You see?
Okay. Now, go ahead, Dr. Whapoe, so we can conclude on this. No, you finished, Mr. Kunney.
The intent of the policy was uniform government salary. That's the intent of the policy.
To achieve what?
Huh?
To achieve what? You uniform it so
the people that work in similar positions get paid similar amount of money.
And what does that do for the economy?
It boosts morale for service, because then if you myself doing the same job and you making different money and I'm making different money, it demoralizes the workforce. It does.
Okay. Dr. Whapoe.
You know, as I listen to Mr. Kunney, I laugh because this is exactly that happening in Liberia, that whole Liberia behind today. You know, one thing you should, when you are a policy maker, what you do is that you look at the costs and the benefit of a policy before you make the policy. You talking about a great morale. You know, you sound like a typical government official in Liberia. You sound like one of the George Weahs. One of the George Weahs who believe in morality. Oh, a big morale is out there. But one thing that you people have blinded your eyes on it is that you make policy, you look at the cost and the benefit. If the cost of the policy, it goes beyond, it's more than the benefit, that's not a good policy. So now, you intended to have a morale so that everybody can take pay, so people can take pay, quote unquote, so people can take pay. But equally so, the result, the byproduct of your policy is that it has complemented economic recession in Liberia. Are you happy with that?
Look, every policy has a byproduct. There is no.
Yeah, so but the byproduct is more than the benefit. The benefit of the policy is less than the cost. So is that a good policy?
If your argument if your argument is that the government will give perfect policy, there is no policy that is perfect. Every policy has another impact. What I'm saying, the goal of the policy was to make sure that government employees in similar positions are paid the same amount. That is the goal of the policy. That is the goal of the policy.
Mr. Kunney, could you agree with me that there's a fine line between concern and indicator?
I don't know what you mean. There's a fine line between concern and indicator. I don't know what you're trying to communicate.
What I'm trying to communicate is that you're talking about the concern is good, but the indicator that will show that the concern is consistent, with the indicator, we are not getting it. One. The next thing is that the policy cost is more harmful than the benefit. So that means that it is not a good policy.
I disagree.
All right. Okay.
I disagree.
And secondly, no, Mr. John, secondly, you said that salary will harmonize so civil servants can take pay. Do you know that the employee as capital building, they are not taking pay, they've been striking? Do you know that the employee at temporary adjustment are not taking pay, they've been striking? Do you know that the employee at JFK are not taking pay, they've been striking? So which employee that is taking pay on time that their salary has been harmonized you're talking about?
There is a debate as to the cause of the employees at the legislature clamoring for pay. There is a debate about that.
What debate? Is it not a reality?
Huh?
Is it not a reality?
I said there is a debate. I'm not saying it's not a reality. I said there is a debate as to who is responsible, whether it is the government or it is people at the legislature. That's
all right. Hold on, guys. Mr. Kunney, if you were the one whose salary is affected, you wouldn't be talking about a debate. But here are some numbers. Let's put some numbers on the board. Representative Funati Kofa in 2019 said 10,000 civil servant salary were reduced through government's harmonization. And so I think what's happening here is we are robbing Peter to pay Paul. You harmonize the salary, so you take 10,000 of my salary, but then you bring in more employees and spread that amount over them. So it's like the wage bill, which according to Mr. Ray, according to the executive director for Macroeconomic Policy Analysis Center, Francis Ray says, besides assigning pay grade to all employees, the harmonization exercise has reduced government's wage bill from US $322 million at the end of fiscal year 2018-2019 to US $297 million. Dr. Whapoe, that's the statistics.
Well, I do not want to dwell into the statistic whether it has some reliability and validity. So now, what I would argue on here is this: when you talk about the economy, how does the economy improve? Does the economy improve by downsizing people? Does the economy improve by reducing people's salary? Does the economy improve by cutting consumer spending down? That's my concern. So what is the need to reduce wages when you bring in more people in just to say that I'm giving job to people? What I think should be done is to have more competent people in to do the job versus reducing wages and at the same time causing economic recession. Because of the reduction in people's salary, consumers are no more buying. So therefore, it affects the economy. So what is the good impact of this policy of harmonization? When you make a policy, you should ensure that the benefit of the policy exceeds the cost of the benefit of the policy. But in this case, the cost of the benefit is more than the cost of the policy is more than the benefit. That is not a good policy. Cutting government expenditure down by means of salary does not necessarily say that it's helping to take the common person from poverty. No. You're cutting the person's salary down, but yet that money is then leaked into other people's pocket. Up to now, the employees and legislators, they are not taking pay. Temporary justice, the judicial branch people are not taking pay. Ministry of Health, JFK people are not taking pay. And it goes across the nation. So what is the essence of harmonizing people's salary with the intent that people have the morale so they can take it, but yet people are striking all across the nation for their salary. So where is the money going? Maybe the policy name is good, but the intent might be good, but the implementation has a fault on it.
So, Dr. Whapoe, is the problem with the concept of harmonization? Is it bad, or is it the implementation or the outcome? Is the concept in itself, is it good or bad?
Well, all of the above have impact on it. It's not a matter of bad or a matter of good. I'm looking at the cost and benefit of it. The cost of it. The cost of the policy is more harmful than the benefit of the policy. So therefore, it's not a good policy. Whether you can have a beautiful knee, you have a bad character, you are not good. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You can have a beautiful knee, but you have a bad character. The policy needs harmonization. It sounds so beautiful. Yes, harmony. We're looking for harmony. But the implementation process that brings the result of the policy, the result has not been benefiting the Liberian people as a whole. We have economic recession. Consumer buying has dropped significantly. Okay, so at this point in time, can you tell me in your own word, people are holding their money because they don't have? People are holding it. People are not taking pay. The intent of that policy, according to Mr. Kunney, was that people will take pay, but people are not taking pay. Legislators striking, judicial branch striking, Ministry of Health striking, and water insurance tracking all around the nation. So what is the positive impact of harmonization? Yes, you might give statistics that, okay, so million have been said. Where is the million going when the very people that you intended to impact them with the harmonization for them to take pay, they are not taking pay? So where is the money going? That's the question.
Thank you. Hold on, Mr. Kunney, we got to conclude on harmonization. So Dr. Whapoe, harmonization as a whole, this whole concept, the implementation, what is your will you consider that complete tabata?
There is a complete tabata. Mr.
Kunney, tabata or not?
No, I think what Mr. Whapoe prefers is the tabata that was in existence of unequal pay among government workers. That's the tabata he prefers. And that tabata needed to be cut out, and I'm happy that this government cut it out.
All right. Let's go to our next topic for the day. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. If you are just joining us, this is Tough Talking Thursday. And the guys are talking tough. Dr. Whapoe said this whole harmonization thing is complete foolishness, nonsense, tabata. Mr. Kunney is saying the tabata was in existence, and then this current government has leveled it out. Let's go to mysterious debts. Since the president, the current government took office, we have had a number of unexplained debt. From the time of the first that we heard that was mysterious was the death of Mr. Innes, who was, supposed to be an accident. Police got him and took him straight to the funeral home. Up to the most recent one, which is the death of the EPS officer allegedly committing suicide. Dr. Whapoe, you are on the ground. Are you scared?
Well, when you say scared, I think it's an understatement. I'm terrified. I'm terrified by the level in which this government has undermined the security of the nation. These things continue to happen in Liberia because the president openly told the Liberian people and the world over that Liberian people should buy a CC camera and put in their own home for their security. He is focusing on the borders. And before I go deeper into that, the gentleman, the EPS gentleman that died, there are more conspiracy theories that are coming out, which I don't want to allude to it until we can do proper investigation and justice our result from our investigation with what the government will offer us. Because as of present time, government has not brought forth a complete report regarding the death of that's public servant, the gentleman who died who was allegedly killed in the EPS. What happened that some of the stories we are getting from there is that the gentleman, he was in possession of two different weapons, long-range weapon and a pistol, a 45 pistol with him. And according to the story being gathered is that at a certain point in time, quote unquote, he was acting funny. We do not know what funny means. We do not know the description of funny. And because he was acting funny, one of the senior officers of the EPS went to him and said, "But my man, why are you acting funny for? Give me the long range gun." And took the long range gun from him and left him with a pistol. The question is that, can only the long range gun be used to commit suicide? The pistol cannot be used to commit suicide as well? For what reason that the long-range gun was taken and the pistol left with him? That's one thing, one information we have to investigate further. The next information is that, which I don't want to validate until it's proven up beyond all possible doubt, is that the gentleman who allegedly committed suicide put bullet in his own brain 3 times to commit suicide. I don't know how possible that can happen. Somebody took gun to put bullet in their brain to kill themselves, and they got to shoot the gun 3 times first. He put it there, pow. He said, "Oh, I'm dying." He put it there for the second time, pow. "Oh, I'm dying." They put it there for the third time, pow. Now I die. Is that something that can happen in this world? So there are more variables to be investigated in the death of that young man. But all in all is that the government has made it clear to us that it is incompetent to protect the Liberian people. And the reason is this: the president and his principal lieutenants seeing the Liberian people problem in their own camera. The same problem they think they are facing, that's the same problem Liberian people facing. They do not have that moral sentiment to look at Liberian people from the desperation they are in, the hardship they are in, and say that what if it happened us? What the thing is that so long they can afford CC camera in their individual homes, the old lady that in West Point can afford CC camera. The old lady that in Newtown can afford CC camera. The old lady that in Jabrada can afford CC camera. That's what the president told, and that is not the case. If you are all, you will look at people's problem from your perspective and not look at it from their perspective. That means you're out of touch. And they completed this government and headed by the president, they're out of touch with the Liberian people situation. Period.
Mr. Kunney, in 2009, Mr. Matthew Innes died from mysterious circumstances.
2019.
2019. I said 2019. 2019. In 2020, 6 auditors back to back, and the government person, the Musa Dean, came up and explained something which I think was complete nonsense.
It was complete tabata.
Yeah, complete tabata. That some people got on Broad Street from the morning to the next morning, just on Broad Street in the car. Then we heard of this. The police, I think there was a police person in Banga who allegedly shot himself. Then we learned of the missing young man with a link to St. Moses and all that. Now the EPS. Scary time in Monrovia, don't you think?
Oh no, I mean, on this one, I do agree that we really have some concerning situations that are unfolding in our country. And of course, the ultimate responsibility for the safety and security of the Liberian people rests on the lap of the government of Liberia. I've been very careful not to politicize these deaths, because sometimes when we do, the victims are minimized and then the political argument takes the higher volume. There are a lot of challenges that are going on in Liberia. Sometimes the security apparatus in the country, their response to these incidents of death is troubling. It's troubling, and I'm sometimes trying to put a finger as to what could be the cause. I know as a law enforcement officer, every crime cannot be solved. It's not every crime that is solvable. There are some crimes that go unsolved. But at the very least, the Liberian people deserve to know that their security is working for them. That even in the situation where crimes cannot be solved, the people need to be convinced that the security apparatus has done everything that they can do on behalf of the Liberian people. And sometimes I see this lacking in some respect.
Mr. Kunney, you are not talking tough. You've been very careful.
Yeah, I'm not talking tough because the normal reaction is to cast things in a political light. And I say I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
You know, I'm not going to do that because if we do that, we minimize the lives of these innocent, these victims that pass away. Sometimes we need to look at certain national issues to look at it. The issue of security in Liberia, I've already stipulated that government bear responsibility for security of the citizens. I've already stipulated to that.
Yeah.
But we should go beyond that stipulation. We should go beyond that stipulation to actually find out what is happening to our investigative agency, what is happening with the Liberian National Police, what is happening with the Criminal Investigation Division, what is happening with the National Security Agency.
And what you think is happening?
Well, I'm sitting outside, but from where I sit, could it be issue of logistics? Could it be issue of
Mr. Kunney, stop it. Let me stop you there. Let me stop you because you are not. We are not. We have seen this thing before. No. Hold on.
Dennis, give me no. I don't have the right to stop me. No, hold on. Let me, Dennis.
Yeah, because we have seen this thing before. Is it logistics?
Dennis, I try to be as objective as I can be. And I appreciate that. Listen, even in this great country, the United States of America.
There we go again with this comparison with United States.
Yeah, but listen, Dennis, because you want in America, Dennis, you will be surprised how many crimes, how many murders that are solved not by law enforcement action, but by competent scientists who help law enforcement to solve those crimes. You're trying to minimize that. I'm just saying that these things. Maybe could it be training issue people on the train? Do we have the logistics for investigation? These are the things that will answer the question. You don't want to hear that.
Thank you. Let's take one instance, for example, right? Let's take the death of the EPS officer.
Look,
hold on, Dr. Whapoe. The death of the EPS officer, could it be training issue for which the government is tight-lipped, nothing heard from the government? Could it be logistics? Does the government need car to get on the radio and tell us what the thing happened? Should it be like logistics, or because we don't have trained scientists to tell us that okay, the president has expressed something, has said something concerning the death of his bodyguard? If these things are not done, why should people speculate? Because Mr. Kunney, the reason I was stopping you is we have watched similar movies before. We have heard where President Doe and his group were investigating someone on the 8th floor and he jumped from there down and died. Then we say, okay, maybe it's because of logistics. That's why he jumped down. Or we are not finding the root cause why he jumped down because we don't have the forensic, we don't have trained people to kind of investigate. Dr. Whapoe, I was getting a little impatient with Mr. Kunney. Do you blame me? Because
I do not blame you at all, because what happened, and he denied and ignored to pinpoint what is happening with the security apparatus in Liberia is that not that they are not competent, not that they do not know what to do, but they are all regime collaborators. They are not serving it, they are not serving the Liberian government, they are serving a regime. So therefore, until you can know that you are a public servant and serving the nation, but not a particular regime, you will not do your work. They are not doing their work because they are serving a regime. And the regime will say when to investigate, where to investigate, and what to investigate. You tell me, you are trying to compare Liberia's security situation with that of America. You tell me, say all of these people have been dying. What has been one forensic investigation that have been conducted and the culprit they have been able to bring the culprit to justice? Tell me one.
Look,
the four auditors, the Matthew in the issue, the EPS issue, what logistics that is required to be able to investigate and bring the corporate to justice that they do not have it. Tell me, I will provide it. Tell me.
Well, then you need to call the Liberian National Police to make that offer. But what I'm telling you, based on my experience, look, we've seen this radio before, from government to government. These things are, they continue to happen.
No, but you the ones that they do not have the justice. And no, I just name few instances. The death of Matthew Innes, the death of the four auditors, that the president said boyfriend and girlfriend went to go do their thing, then they die, or say somebody killed them. The president said that what justice did they need before they investigate to bring the culprit to justice?
I don't know. And that's why I say I don't know whether it is logistical issue, it is training issue. I don't know. Maybe you know that. Maybe you are aware.
So could we judge them on what you know, judge them on it, and bring us information. Why the citizen life is being threatened now by insecurity in Liberia. The president is incompetent to provide security for the Liberian people. Why judge them by it? Do not speculate. Be real and come to the Liberian people as a Liberian. That when you were in Liberia, if your life was threatened, those of all who are here, our life has been threatened. How will you feel? Judge them by what you know.
And what I know is what I said, that the government is responsible for security and the ultimate responsibility for security falls on government. That's what I know. And I'm telling you that you will not be satisfied until I criticize government. That's not my rule. You are a politician. You can criticize government. Or
Also, if somebody refuses to perform their responsibility, you cannot hold them responsible. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
You lead.
So if the government has a responsibility,
Dr. Whapoe, let him finish.
You lead.
If the government is not doing it, why can't you hold them responsible?
You lead a political party. You can criticize the government anytime you want.
No, but Mr. Kunney, there is not about criticism, though. It's not about criticism. I'm telling you, you clearly say it is the government's responsibility to provide security for the Liberian people, and the government is yet to do that. So why can't you hold them responsible for these mysterious deaths that have been happening? Is there any reason you have to be politician before you hold them responsible? It is your responsibility to feed your child in your home. You're not feeding the child. The child went and stole food. Is it your fault? Or no?
Dr. Whapoe, you got to give him a chance to talk.
Dr. Whapoe will not be satisfied until he and myself speak the same English. And unfortunately, we can't talk the same thing.
No, I'm not saying.
Give me a chance, my brother.
Go ahead.
We cannot. I've laid my premise that government is responsible for security in the Republic of Liberia. To the extent that they're not doing that, security of the citizens are at risk. People are scared. I myself here, I'm scared because I got relatives in Liberia. I was trying to find reason why it is happening. If you have
now we spoke the same language.
Give me a chance. Hold
on, Dr. Whapoe. He has held them responsible. So hold on. Go ahead.
No, that's the language we are speaking now.
Why you want me to say is that we are kidding? If you want to say that, say that. You can say that. I don't have the evidence that it is Joy that is killing them. So I can't say that. It would be completely irresponsible for me to say that. But what I can say is that the government is responsible to protect its citizens. The fact that the government is not doing it is concerning to every Liberian, whether you live in Liberia or you live here. We got relatives in Liberia. I myself goes to Liberia. The fact that the government, that these things are happening, it bothers all of us. I was only trying to find out, think out loud, what could it be? Why are we not having answers to all of these questions? I was trying to do that. The only answer that is important to you is to say it is George Weah that killed them. But you can make that statement. I don't have to say it. You can make that. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Kunney. Thank you. Okay, let's conclude on this death, right? To say what is the we were speculating, and Mr. Kunney, you speculated well as to what could be responsible. Dr. Whapoe is clear that people that are No. He said those people that are doing it, government has a hand in it. Mr. Kunney, you are a law enforcement officer, right? What exactly can you put your finger on that? And I'm using the EPS officer for instance. What can you put your finger on could be responsible for which not even a press conference we can get either from the EPS officer, from the Attorney General, from the police director, whoever. Why are we not hearing anything?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what variables that they may be considering. I don't know. I have absolutely no answer for the lack of information from the EPS, from other investigating agencies. I have no reason why they're not doing that. And you remember I said the fact that this void, the fact that if you leave this kind of void, other people fill the void.
Yeah.
Other people fill the void. I said that a number of times, but I can't tell you why they're not coming forward. If the man died by suicide, come and present to the Liberian people that it is suicide. If the man died by other circumstances, present it to the Liberian people. His family deserve it. The rest of the country deserve it. I don't know the reason why they are tightly on it. I don't know.
Thank you, Dr. Whapoe. What role can you are a member of the opposition bloc. 4 or 5 years ago, if this happened under President Sirleaf, the CDC party will be in the street demonstrating or will be doing something to call government attention to this.
Definitely.
Why is the opposition sleeping? What's going on?
They're doing something about that.
Well, the opposition is not sleeping. The opposition is working. The opposition have made some requests that it's necessary that the government takes responsibility of the security of this nation, including its people. We've done that. But what happens is that we've been optimistically skeptical about the government approaches to.
Before you continue, is there any press statement from the opposition that you can point to?
Well,
is there any sustained action? Has there been any sustained action from the opposition to call attention to these things and do something? I'm not saying violent, but to do something about it.
No, I do not want to speculate or to give you any information that is not accurate, that the opposition has made had press conference regarding that. I don't want to speculate on that. But what I do know is that regarding the EPS gentleman's death, there has not been specific press conference on that, but there are a series of events, deaths, and that have occurred in Liberia that the opposition took stand on it, including my institution. We stood against that and we preached that and we demanded the government to bring results. All of these things have been done, but you know what? If you take certain steps for, oh my God.
All right, Dr. Whapoe is frozen right there. Mr. Kunney, you think the opposition is on complete tabata? Because I don't see any sustained energy from the opposition. They only, they look like people waiting their term to be president.
The opposition is on tabata. This is the opposition that only speak to issues when they affect their members. But when similar issues affect other Liberians, they remain quiet. Their sense of governance, their sense of outrage is based on where the participant is located. So, for example, the opposition is quiet regarding the attack on the National Election Commission. They're not saying anything. The opposition don't see that violence. The opposition do not see the violence that is being carried out against Associate Justice Namwe. They don't see that kind of violence. These people only speak about violence when it either affect themselves, but when it affect other Liberians, they're very slow to talk. And this is troubling. Violence should be condemned no matter who commits it. Act of violence should be condemned no matter who commits it. Who has the right to attack the Election Commission? Who has the right to attack an associate justice? And we've seen this repeatedly. When violence occurs within the parameters of the opposition, they are either quiet or they minimize it. The opposition should be a government that is in waiting. If they are truly a government in waiting for all Liberians, not only for members of the opposition. And this is disturbing. There are serious allegations going all over. Even as it affects ordinary people, the opposition don't talk because some of their players are implicated in some of these situations, so they don't talk. They don't talk. It is only when it affects the government or it's a government-friendly person, you see the opposition up in arms. I don't think this is healthy for our democracy. But again, as a politician, we see this duplicity all over the world, even here where we are. You see Republicans that were pushing for the decertification of certified election results are now backing away and claiming certified election results to be sacrosanct. So, this is the duplicity of politicians, and this is why I don't put my faith in them.
Yeah, me neither. I don't put my faith in politicians. But what I want to see is it looks like the opposition bloc has outsourced its function to tough talking, man cussing, talk show hosts all over the place.
Exactly. And this is something why I ask. If you see a major leader of the opposition filing with somebody who abuses all day, someone who has the legitimate forum to raise issues, abandons that forum and take to the street and abuses all day, and you see prominent members of the opposition filing with that person, it makes me wonder, what kind of opposition do they expect? God forbid, if they become leaders, do they expect that same kind of opposition? Because you see, the good old book says you must do unto others what you what you want them to do unto you. And this is what is repeating always in Liberia. The attack on the Election Commission is unconscionable. And every Liberian should speak against that. There are some, for every little thing they say is a threat to democracy. But what threat can we put to a democracy when you're attacking the Election Commission and you're attacking a justice who is in chamber because there is an electoral dispute that is at the court? What signals are we sending?
If you just joined us, this is Tough Talking Thursday. My guest, Mr. Wilmot Kunney, he's the chief political analyst here at Focus on Liberia. And Dr. Jeremiah Whapoe, he's joining us from Monrovia. He's the leader of the VOTE, that's the Vision for Liberia's Transformation. Let's bring in a few comments while we wait for Dr. Whapoe. Eric J. Peabody said, Liberia is becoming an ungovernable place. The people who are in charge of securing the safety of Liberians have failed miserably. Nathaniel Sokan, there's a former CID. Incompetence is the problem, and they are all seditions. Today, the director of police told the Senate that the law is a target of the security rather than fighting crimes. Tipo PK Dempster, I can't remember when the ruling party ever take a stand when something happens to opposition. And there's something here for you, Mr. Kunney, from anyway, I was looking for that. Yeah, he said, my question to Mr. Kunney is were you to be in Liberia, will you re-elect the CDC government that is incapable of providing security for its citizens? What's your answer?
Well, I mean, I'm not in Liberia, so that question is moot.
So you can't answer hypothetical?
No, I cannot.
Ellen Paul said, did Mr. Kunney come on here today to say, I don't know to every question asked to him? I don't think that's the case, right?
No, it's not the case. Like I said, what appeals to people is to always do their talking point. And once you're not doing their talking point, no matter what answer you give, is not sufficient for them. It's not enough for them.
Jackie Sayers said harmonization is to add more of their friends and loved ones. The wage bill has doubled. Do you agree?
Like I said, I mean, I already explained my support for the harmonization, equal work for equal pay. I mean, that is all good. That's what I want. All secretaries across government should make the same amount of money, irrespective of where they are located. That was the concept of the harmonization. That's the concept that I support.
Nathaniel said the policy is not working as the harmonization. It is a complete failure. Kunney is one of those that fought Ellen administration yesterday, but is supporting the failed government of George Weah. My friend and brother needed a job in the past administration, but did not get it. So he harbors that malicious intention.
You know, Dennis, we always speculate to our motive, but you know, once you're in the public space, you should also know that whatever you do will be subject to different interpretations, especially by people who don't really know you.
Yeah. Okay, we're still waiting for Dr. Whapoe for him to join us. This is Focus on Liberia, Tough Talking Thursday. Tuition-free public colleges and universities is the new thing that's been called on in Liberia. The House of Representatives passed a bill seeking to create a special education scheme to support deserving students attending public tertiary institutions across Liberia. And guess what? The ad name is LONO, an act to create a special education fund to support and sustain the tuition-free scheme for the University of Liberia, all public university and colleges program, and the free WASI or WAEC fees for 9th graders and 12th graders. So the short form for this bill is called WEF. Mr. Kunney, this is the bill that has the House passed, was I think first introduced by Mr. Thomas Fowler, who too has a university. When you heard this, good news, bad news, complete Tabata?
No, it's not complete Tabata. I admire the audacity of Liberian lawmakers coming together to answer the question of free college education. That is a worthy goal. I think where many people have concerns is whether we have the resources adequate enough to meet that goal. I think that where the discussion is.
And but where do you have your concern?
Yeah, the resources to match that goal. That's where I have my concern, because it is not just the payment of the tuition, it is also the infrastructure, the manpower, all of these things that are that come together to create quality college education. It has to be part of this package. You understand what I'm saying? We want to create a package that promotes quality college education for Liberian students. So free tuition is not bad, but are we also talking about the infrastructure? Are we also talking about staff development? Are we also talking about other things that would make college education not only affordable, but that would make it more of a qualitative learning for Liberian students, so that Liberian students can be competitive both in Liberia and internationally. So for me, it is the sources of funding that I'm concerned about. If the bill identify adequate sources of funding for this, that will incorporate the other elements that are attached to it, then I think it is a worthy program. But it can't just be for tuition payment. Because once you make anything public, you create the demand for that thing.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Whapoe, while you were away, we started a new segment, which is the free colleges and tuition, free tuition in public university and colleges. They call that the WEF. That's the act created to support a special fund to support and sustain the tuition-free scheme for the University of Liberia, all public university and colleges program, and the free WAEC, I want to call it, they have WAS fees for 9th graders and 12th graders. Good thing, bad thing?
Well, I want to apologize for the breaking communication from my end. It was due to electricity harmonization.
Your payment.
They said they decided to harmonize the electricity and take it from my community to give to another community to benefit. So,
because all communities should have equal electricity.
Yeah, so they harmonize it that way. That's well, I'm sorry for that. What happened is that the idea to provide free tuition for public university is good. But one thing I always look at is that I think it should not just be free. It shouldn't be free. It should be income based. Because, for example, suppose Buffer Chamber, who make $15,000 to $20,000 a month in Liberia, someone happen to go to public school. Is it okay for him to have free tuition, like somebody is coming from Gibraltar, that is attending a public school, to have free tuition? Is it fair to that person? No. So I think if at all we are providing the assistance based on family income, individual income, it will be fair enough. Everybody will have to pay their fair share to the economy, but making it holistically, universally free, I don't think it's a good thing, because it's not fair to those who are supposed to receive that financial assistance. And the next thing is that, like, when I came here, I heard Mr. Kunney talking about whether there's a financial strain that they will pull their resources from to be able to pay to subsidize the various universities. And that's a key question that we need to ask our government and people who intend to make this thing a policy and make it a policy. Because at times, since the harmonization came, a lot of times people at the various university have strike because the payment, the money that's supposed to go there so they can underwrite certain administrative costs and what have you has not been paid. For example, Haber Multilateral, they take free tuition, but because the money was not going there, they hack up the ID card fees. They hack up students going to class for tests. They got to pay for the paper that they will take the test and all the kind of stuff. So what is the essence of you saying it is free when actually it's not? In essence, it's not free. So I mean, it's a good intent. It's a concept, but the indicator that will show that the concept is working, that's what we don't see here. But I think the idea to provide financial assistance to the needy is good, but not everybody qualify for the same equal assistance. That's my problem. So there's a need that we.
So you are saying you can harmonize the fees?
No, it needs not to be harmonized. What needs to be done is that it should be based on family income.
All
based
right.
on the family
Let's
income, you can
start
benefit
this
from
way. You are in Monrovia, or you are in Liberia. We are here, but we listen every day. What? And let me start with you, Mr. Kunney. What is the issue that is the major issue that public university and colleges are facing today that government needs to solve?
Okay, but before I answer that question, let me first of all say for the first, maybe for the first time I agree with the dad that the tuition, the issue of the tuition really need to be studied carefully. We all applaud the idea of tuition assistance, but as I indicated, funding is a concern for me, and making it equitable is also a concern for me. So we need to address those issues. My own experience at the University of Liberia, where I graduated, of course, tuition has always been a problem. In my day, you would be surprised. I could not pay $37 per semester. The semester fee was $75, but then I think we had to do a deferred payment of $37.50. I couldn't even pay that. It was difficult. I want to believe that there are students still in my position that you may find in Liberia today. The hardship never goes away.
Right.
The years goes away, but the hardship never goes away. So the issue of tuition is critical.
Right.
But in addition to tuition,
Mr. Kunney, I want us to come to what is the main issue that these schools are facing that government is trying to solve? Do we know it? Because the reason I ask that is most of the time as policymakers, you must first analyze what the problem is that you are trying to solve. In my view, I don't think people are doing an actual analysis of what the issues are, and they are just throwing these solutions at issues that they don't even understand.
Well, but at the rate of me not speaking for the government, like I was trying to speak from my personal experience, tuition is a key issue at a university. The issue of staff and development is also a key issue at a university. These are the things you need to make a university competitive. You need a competent staff that will teach students that come to the university. And then the university needs to be affordable. So these are the two issues. Now, how the tuition-free bill answer these two questions, it's out there to see.
Yeah.
But the calculation into providing help need to be done carefully. It need to be done carefully. Again, when we talk, they say, well, don't compare to America, but even where we are, assistance to students that go to college, even a public university is based on income. It's based on income. Certain level of income give the students certain level of assistance. So all of these things need to be taken into consideration so that we don't get on this bus of blanket free. Because if it becomes free, like I said, the demand increases. And then if that demand increases, you should have the services to meet that demand. So this is where I think the challenge is, finding the resources to meet that goal. I agree with that the goal is good, but putting the different pieces together for it to be successful is where the hard work lies.
Dr. Whapoe, the same question. Today in Liberia, what are the issues the schools are facing? And do you think the legislators have a complete understanding of what the issues are before throwing this?
The legislators, they were obliged to do what they did. The reason is the the free tuition issue came about when the students at the University of Liberia were consistently and persistently demonstrating on the campus there regarding reduction in tuition, and they were also demonstrating against the government about bar policy and what have you. And some of the wise men behind President, we are advised that if at all you want the university student on your side so they cannot strike against this government, what you do is go tell them say they can go to school free. And the president heard that, and when he said, George Mane, we are for Clicon, I say, come to University of Liberia free. And it was announced. And you know, when the president speaks, it becomes a policy. When he speaks, it becomes a policy. So therefore, the legislator has to put that into book so it can become a policy. And the big question, the $1 million question is that this government that usually cries because of no money, and they have taken another almost 70 million United States dollars responsibility to add it up. As we speak, at the University of Liberia, there's no good sitting capacity for students to sit so they can have good learning. And you and myself know very well that naked sitting chair, the condition of the chair that students sit in, it has impact on their learning. We do not have it. At the University of Liberia, even at the graduate school, there's no projector. Up to the press time, we are still writing on a chalkboard, no projector. We cannot, that problem is yet to be resolved. Up to press time, students of the University of Liberia do not have books in the library to say that they have books that they can refer to go study. Up to the graduate school, we don't have that. We do not have a resound computer lab that students will go and research. Internet availability on the campus is a problem. All of those problems, we have it. And yet, the government said it should be free, and we're looking forward to see where the resources will be put so all of these conditions that I have listed can be resolved. And I think it will be a very difficult challenge for the government to do that. Up to present time, there are some people, including me, teaching at a graduate school, so we have not gotten salary.
And that's why I think this is number one Tabata coming out of the House of Representatives. Here,
Yes.
and this has been not just this government, but successive government. We never analyze any issue. Policy analysis, I think it's supposed to be basic for any policy maker, right? But we are doing, yeah.
It is not just tapata, it is a tapata in a superlative form.
Here are some of the issues. Let me put some numbers on the board for some problems that schools are facing in Liberia. Let me start with one of the most populated counties in Liberia currently. And we got this, I will put the where we got these statistics from later on. Currently, Nimba, the percentage of primary schools without access to water is 49%. Without toilet facilities, 34%. Without electricity, 97%.
Okay.
Let's go to Lofa. Percentage of primary school with no access to water, 60%. No access to toilet facility, 25%. Electricity, 90%. Still in these two counties, percentage of primary school without a library in Nimba County, 92%, and in Lofa, 90%. Access to latrines was found to be extremely low with students for students with disabilities. And guess what? The budget allotted for education for 2021-2022 fiscal year is 81.3 million. Compensation of employees alone account for 50 million, while goods and services only 10 million. So now, Mr. Kunney, you want to talk quickly?
Yeah, quickly.
But you know where I'm going with this?
Well, maybe we'll go different road. Probably we might land to the same place. But,
okay.
But look again. This is the same thing we talk about politics. I mean, you can see the political undertone that is driving this bill. As I said earlier,
and you are endangering the lives of people by your political undertone driving such a stupid bill.
As I indicated earlier, it is not just the free tuition. We're talking about the infrastructure that Doug talked about. We talk about a whole lot of things. And I don't know why, the political leadership, I mean, even from previous time, we saw the construction of ethnic community colleges around the country where they put it in a county, then they found one somebody with an education from that ethnic background go to be the president of that college. Nobody even know the quality of that college. We saw the proliferation of so many community colleges in Liberia. And so this is the same danger that this bill faces. And you're right, Dennis, there are some basic questions we need to answer, because the thing is it's not the quantity of education, it's the quality of the education that matters. It is that quality that will make a Liberian child competitive with a Ghanaian child, with a Nigerian child. Because look, this thing, the world is moving. They're not waiting for Liberia. The children we look at today, they will be the leaders of Liberia 20 years from now. And our mind should be on those students, on those children. When President Tobo called us the pressure jewels, some of us couldn't understand. But here we are today. We are the ones that are determining the destiny of our country in so many ways. So this is really important. People should not make education decisions based on political calculation. They shouldn't do that. We should go and study the issue, find the issue, address the issue. I mean, you're talking tuition free to a school where they can't even find chair to sit down. So why don't we give the chair first before we even reach that level? So I think more research needs to be done on this bill. I don't think it is a bad bill, but more work needs to be done if it will produce the kind of result that will be beneficial to the country.
Mr. Kunney, call it as it is. Tabata.
Small tabata.
Oh, a small one. Can we not even have at least a functioning internet cafe on the University of Liberia campus, for instance?
No.
Where we can go, there is this Dr. Peter Vulule now has his group has e-library. Why can you have at least a functioning lab over there where students can go and download their books, put them on their jump drive, and go home? And you said they should go there free. We are looking at what is coming out of the university. People graduating from the university cannot distinguish between ARE and the personal pronoun I.
Even the degree, they can't read it right.
No.
They will not tell you the difference between here and here.
In university. And you said that you go free. And we are not talking quality. This really angered me. I am enraged about this, because when you do this for education, you are damaging the future of the country. I mean, look at the quality of education we got from the same Liberia. I was all the way behind God back in Dudwicken. I had a library. We were able to compete. And now you are just throwing things around. This is complete foolishness. But let's go to our last issue for the night.
An LU student was writing the same. They watching TV. My man, they spread the thing like you watching clothes. I'm watching TV.
Yeah, watching TV. Now, another foolishness is this whole idea of paying WASI or YF fees. Okay, nobody has even been able to do a study what is coming out of this WASI and WAS. Is it so much important that we have to be throwing money at it? Can we not use that money to develop something and do something else?
But Mr. John, the problem here is that anybody you think education will be free, you making mockery out of yourself. Education is not free. The intent to make education everything free Liberia, it's just ludicrous. What would it be to empower people to do things for themselves versus giving them fish all the time? You cannot teach them how to fish. What if my parents are unemployed, there's an avenue that they will be employed and get a job and pay my white fee? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with me being empowered and the interest rate at the various bank, you reduce it as government so people can be able to borrow and make their own businesses to pay their children fee. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with the government empowering the agriculture sector so more people can go into the agriculture industry, make farm, bring the product to market, sell it, and be able to pay their children's school fee? What is wrong with that? I don't see nothing wrong with that. But
right now,
these are serious issues that government ignores and be able to come on the surface to attempt to bring cosmetic solution to problems. Cosmetic solution cannot solve the problem.
All right, okay. Let's move on. Let's move on
quickly. What's the opposition plan? What's the opposition plan? The opposition just criticized and
we're coming to that, Mr. Kunney. We're coming to that because I have colleagues that have schools right now. When schools are going on in Monrovia, for example, more than half of people at school going age are out of the classroom because they cannot afford it. They prefer, you have $2, scale of preference. Do I eat or do I go to school? So as you were saying, if the economy is doing well, if you touch these variables, improve the economy, a lot of these things then will fall in place. Parents will have jobs to send their kids to school. But you keeping them in a state of hunger, poverty, and you right there acting like the God Almighty to give them handouts, make everything free so that they will praise you, I find that has complete tabata. But let's go, there's a new kid on the block. The People's Liberation Party of Dr. Cassell. Parties like small parties, small knick parties like Vote. I know they are scared now because Liberation Party is coming. We see that the CPP has some challenges, and now we have the Liberation Party. We saw in the news that around 200 partisans of the Unity Party are going to the People's Liberation Party. In fact, the chairman, Mr. Pei, is leading the group. Dr. Whapoe, how scared are you of the People's Liberation Party and Dr. Cassell?
Then I am not terrified. I am not scared of nothing. The reason is this. The politics in Liberia is not what I think Cassell might have understood very well. We've been on the ground here. I came here since 2017 election. I came into Liberia 2014. I went back and forth. I vibrated from Liberia to America, back to Liberia. I did that. And since the election, I have not left the country. The notion that we will be afraid is now a reality. The reason is this. There's no political party in Liberia, including the Unity Party, every political party in Liberia, excluding Vote. The Vote Party is the only political party that had a platform and they pronounced it to Liberian people. And despite we did not win the election, we are implementing our platform in Liberia right now, and Liberian people are feeling it. And also because of our platform, our promise to Liberian people that we believe that what we have in our platform, we can deliver it. This year, October, we will be putting rice on the market to be produced and processed in Liberia. It will be the first time you'll see a huge quantity of rice on the Liberian market that is being processed and produced in Liberia. So well, we are yet to see the pedigree, the political pedigree of the Liberation People's Party. So Liberians, the People's Liberation Party, we are yet to see the pedigree of them. Until we can see the pedigree of them, that will supersede the political connection of the Vote Party with the common Liberian people, and that will supersede our moral sentiment with the Liberian people, where we have the empathy of the Liberian people. Until we can see those things, there's nothing can terrify us. We believe that we are second to none.
Dr. Whapoe, I know you're going to present the Vote platform here. I get it, but realistically, you see 200, I'm not saying 2, I'm not saying 10, 200 Unity Party, the ruling party just yesterday. They look at Vote, they look at the Liberation Party, and they are going to the Liberation Party.
Yeah, but you see, most of the time in Liberia,
including the chairman.
Yeah, but the chairman you're talking about, Wilmot was expelled from Unity Party, and even the Hitler of Germany he has his own lieutenant. So Wilmot has his own lieutenant that support it. So what's wrong with them finding a political party to go to? Wilmot is now a figure that you will say because he left Unity Party does not have credibility. No, Wilmot was expelled from the political party, and he has his own lieutenant that go with him. So what's wrong with that? I don't see nothing wrong with that. I don't see nothing wrong with that. Equally so, their migration from one party to another cannot terrify a stable political institution like vote that says what it does. It cannot shake us. We are firm and we are strong and we are here to conquer. We see Liberia as a diamond that is yet to be polished, and we are the political party that will polish the diamond so it can shine. Nothing can stop us.
Mr. Kunney, there is this party happen. Dr. Cassell went to Liberia, he's throwing a lot of money around, and now it's like it's like, you know, this handsome guy get to the place and all the women are leaving their men, going to this guy, or the vice versa.
All of the
what kind of political system we have here with this consistent or this constant party happen?
And all of the Tabata you have been looking for on the show, that the real Tabata we now reach to. This is the biggest Tabata of all. What they call the Ugak Pata of them all. That's what we're talking here. Dennis, look, we fought for multi-party democracy when we were very young, at great risks to ourselves. And we are very happy that Liberians are enjoying the benefit of this multi-party democracy. But at the same time, we are saddened by the direction the participation is taking. There is no party that is organized around any national principles. We've seen now the upsurge of this philanthropist politician, somebody who start to build a little bridge. By the time the people get to know that, oh, somebody built this bridge, the person is a candidate. Somebody go to our country, start to divide a little few bag of rice. I mean, the thing is so predictable to the point where as soon as you see somebody dividing rice, the announcement of that political announcement is just next door. And this is why this is what is happening in Liberia. And this is why on this show, we've always advocated that there has to be some kind of electoral reform in our country. Yes, it is the right of people to organize party, but there should be a threshold to even appear on a presidential ballot. There should be a threshold. You have a situation where we have 22 candidates that go into our election.
If you say that, I don't think Dr. Whapoe will like it, because
there should be a threshold. You find parties that go to election, national elections, they emerge from the election with 0.1%. What are we putting those people on another ballot? You see, it is not the abuse of that right, but it's to make sure that people enjoy that right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Whapoe, you are there. A couple of years ago, I wrote an article on my blog. What distinguishes Liberia's political parties? Is it just faces? Now we have a new kid on the block.
Well, I could not agree more with Mr. Kunney when he said that there should be some threshold, and you said that I don't think that the Whapoe would like that. Why wouldn't he like that?
Because vote did not reach anywhere, so vote should not be on the next ballot.
No, I think the threshold that was required, for to stand as a political party, vote passes through that. That's why we appear on the ballot. Even if the bar is raised up, the bar is not only raised up for vote alone, the bar is raised up for the political system. If we can meet up with the bar, we will be able to stand and contest for position in Liberia. I think the problem here is this. This is why we are trying to form a set of alliances. The idea of multi-democracy does not necessarily mean proliferation of political party. Multi means anything that is more than 2 is mortar, 3 is a mortar, 4 is a mortar. It does not mean it should go exponentially or infinitely so that we can know it's mortar. This is the reason why we are trying to cut down the number of political parties in Liberia by forming alliances and coalition. And one of the biggest political alliance in Liberia is one of those for which I am part of. So I am not afraid, to go in debate with any political standard bearer, a party standard bearer, that we can debate the issue, and Liberian people know who has the likability, who has the right policy to benefit the country. The Liberian people wouldn't have problem with that. I think what matters is that what Mr. Kunney said, people will come and they commercialize the political system in Liberia. You said that vote did not go anywhere. Vote might have not gone anywhere, not because that we do not have the competency, but what we didn't do is that we do not want to commercialize politics. We want to preach the politics and show the people our pedigree when it comes to policy that will benefit the Liberian people. If you want to commercialize your politics and ban Liberian people because of their poverty situation, that's the choice you will make. But we will continue to preach the right message. We believe that politics should not be commercialized. People should not vote because somebody say, okay, if you give me $20, I'm going to vote for you, and the person has been in government, and when you go take your ballot picture, you vote for me, you take the picture, you bring it to me, I see I'm going to give you $20. This is what has been happening here. I am from a civilized society. The great United States of America trained me as a leader, and I know what transparency means. So I will not look at $20 to go buy a vote before, and my knee can be one of the first or second in line. No, I will do the right thing. It left with the people to understand what I'm doing is in their favor or not. So our inability to reach the mark that you expect for us to reach is not because we did not pass through the threshold. It is because that we do not want to commercialize politics in Liberia. And I will agree there should be a bar race so that there should not be multiplicity or proliferation of political party, which is happening right now in Liberia. The modern political party does not necessarily proliferation. We can have an electoral reform. We say we believe in modern political party, but the modern system the party should not exceed more, should not exceed 5, should not exceed 4, should not exceed. If we do that, everybody that have the synonyms of ideas will be able to come together with those ideas and perform on a political party that they will be able to participate in the election. But how it is right now, anybody can come with $10,000 and able to rent office. And at the end of the day, they want to go dig well in the community. At the end of the day, say, okay, I'm going to pay your children school fees, and they become representative candidate, presidential candidate, you name it. All because people are poor, and somebody who attempts, like for example, if you are drowning, if you show a threat in the water, you take that threat to be your savior. So, but what they refuse to know is that nobody can use $20 for 6 years to give somebody to be a senator a representative for 6 years. Nobody can eat a bag of rice for 9 years. Somebody gave you bag of rice to become a senator. You take the bag of rice. Nobody can wear one T-shirt for 6 years. Somebody wants to become president, they give you T-shirt you wear. All of this is happening because of the poverty in Liberia, and there where we're supposed to attack how to fight poverty in Liberia, so people can be able to stay on their own. Because when you are hungry, you don't make good decisions. Hunger is the anesthesia. It's a social anesthesia that when you have it, you become vulnerable. And today, because of the poverty, because of the poverty, people are not taking their responsibility. People are there, they are commercializing everything like that. Even it goes to the churches. So that's what I'm not interested in.
Thank you. And we'll be winding this down. We're 5 minutes over the time we allotted for the show. Let's look at a few comments. But before we go to the comments, Dr. Whapoe, just quickly, the opposition versus the ruling party. And before your phone went off, we're saying this too, that with all that is happening, if the CDC were the opposition, they will be in the street demonstrating. They will really be calling people, the government's attention to these ills in the society. The opposition look like they are sitting there. They are not providing the alternative solution that people will look at. Take, for instance, people have been calling on the president to visit the counties and tell them, thank you for the election. President just done that after 3 years. But the opposition sitting down on their hands in Monrovia. The opposition is not working in the interest of the people that they should be doing. A lot of things taking place, and all we see is like they're just waiting for that day to say, okay, Judge Weah, is this bad? and the people are waiting for us to put the opposition back in power. The opposition is not a viable alternative. That's what we are hearing. What are you hearing?
Well, I don't know why would somebody think that the opposition is not a viable alternative. All the opposition has to do is to flag the ills in the society. We are not a governing body to go and investigate. When somebody dies, for us to investigate and bring the report. It is a government responsibility. We are not a governing body that's supposed to pave the road from here to Bokonjili. It is a government responsibility. All we have to do to flag it out, let the public know that these things are supposed to be done. The government is not doing it, and exactly that's what we're doing. And you talk about the president going to visit rural area. Look, the president's visitation is okay for him to do it, but one thing we saw on the president's visit is that he's having too much loose ends. If you have too much loose ends like that, you cannot accomplish anything. That's what the president does. You go so you dig ground, you break ground, you go so you break ground, you go so you break ground. Yet you are complaining about resources. The government doesn't have money. And you're breaking all of these ground. At the end of the day, rain will soon fall, and all the hole that you have dug around for project, water will go in there, will be ditches on the road again. So the president has so much loose end that he cannot handle. So somebody alluding to the president's visit to be beneficial in Liberia or to be worse, I don't know until we can see the result from that. The president has too much loose end that he will not be able to accomplish any of these things that he has promised the Liberian people. And that's a failing government right there.
Thank you. Mr. Kunney, just 1 minute. Dr. Whapoe is saying it's not their business to build a road to Kabada. It's not their business to investigate crime. As far as all they need to do is to show the red car or yellow car and let that's all they need to do. What's your take?
And that's the sad thing. That's the tragedy that has befallen our country. Because the opposition is now powerless. The opposition control Congress. They control the national legislature. The opposition approve the budget for the country. The opposition approved nominations to position. The opposition, look, let me give you one classic example. Look at the situation where the people are crying for writing currency in the country. The legislature has the power to print currency. The legislature is controlled by opposition. The opposition is not doing anything to address the plight of the Liberian people, and all they want us to do is to blame this president. That's all the opposition does. They're not powerless. They are very powerful. They control both houses of the Liberian legislature. They can make law. They got oversight power. They got spending power. They got investigative power. They got all of those powers. They're not spineless. They just pass in an excuse because they can't do anything. All they want is to just keep the system going until they occupy the system. They don't want to change anything.
That point of interjection, I want to respectfully disagree with Mr. Kunney.
You got 1 minute.
Have they talked about the imperial presidency we have in Liberia? Have they talked about decentralization? Have they talked about taking governance to the people in Liberia? No, they're not talking about it. The only thing they want people to do is, Joe, we are corrupt. Let's move Joe so we can get there. That's all. That's right.
Thank you. That's a Whapoe. 30 seconds. Respond to that so we can close.
Well, I respectfully disagree with Mr. Kunney when he says that the opposition has power. The government has responsibility. The opposition has responsibility. Even if somebody is working in a hall, the person is still part of the government. Political parties are different. The government is different. So therefore, if you say the opposition got power, what power the opposition has to pave road? What power the opposition has to put medicine in the hospital? What power the opposition has a political party has to go investigate crime and bring the report so it can be credible? The opposition does not have that. The speaker of the House, that Buffer Chamber, who is the speaker of the House, is he member of the opposition?
The opposition,
the speaker, the president pro tem, is he an opposition? No, the opposition does not have power that you are alleging that the opposition has. The opposition doesn't have that.
Hold on, Doctor. Hold on. All right.
They are.
Okay, let's get to a few comments. I know we can continue on this. This is not the end of Tough Talking Thursday, and I think you've done that well. Okay, Nathaniel Sokan, the opposition does not control the House of Representatives. The president digging plenty holes for nothing. And he also said, Dennis Lekase asked Councillor Vani Sherman what happened in 2005. This one from Hamilton Zilli, I disagree that the legislators were obliged to do what they did, talking about the free tuition. The core problem of our educational system is not free education. The core issues that we are faced with as a nation in the education system are as follows. infrastructure, capacity building of untrained teachers, attractive salary for the teachers, redesigning a new curriculum, thereby making STEM a priority. So these are some of the issues. Still on that, Jackie Saye said, do they not have a carpentry class to make the chairs? Can schools not have community gardens? Why can't schools build bathrooms? Have a volunteer day to clean? We need a national service system. Make Todman's birthday a voluntary day. Students from other West African countries are benefiting from this free tuition, creating infrastructure problem. That's David Gosso. Mr. Moses Sandy say, want to contribute via telephone. Do you have a call number? Yes, we have a call number, which is on the screen, but our time is up now, so we cannot. The last comment here, I took from Terry Biwa-Chie. I totally disagree that university education should be free. That would not be sustainable. Education at a university is not a right, but a privilege. It is an option and not a compulsory, At best, students should be given loans which they can repay with low interest. Money used for free university education should be used to improve primary, secondary, and technical vocational education and training, the populist in nature. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that will be the end of our tough talking. But let me say, Washington Sacco said good interview with one of the failure to this country. Isa Kofa say you can't do anything without a planning ministry. Where is our rural development ministry? Gentlemen, thank you so much for participating in the first ever Talking Thursday. Your parting comments, and we can conclude this. You have 35 seconds each. Mr. Kunney, you start.
Listen, look, I always stated that our country has challenges. I welcome the participation of political parties in this process. They are very indispensable to the building of our democracy. But at the same time, I'm sometimes taken aback by the kind of don't care attitude road that they take. The political parties in our country are very powerful. As I indicated, they control majority of our legislature. They control the House of Representatives. They control the Senate, just numerical strength. And for a good time, they've become incapable of solving the problems of the Liberian people, be it currency, be it infrastructure, and they put everything at the doorstep of the president. We are trying to get away with this imperial presidency. We want a decentralized form of government. The opposition is not even going in that direction. And under those circumstances, Mr. Jha, I'm finding it difficult to view this opposition as a credible alternative to the current government. There is nothing new they're offering other than telling us how bad the current government is, and we should just give them the space to occupy, the change of government. That is not enough. It is not enough for most Liberians. It is not enough for a lot of Liberians. The opposition, if they want to be credible, they need to do more. They are quiet today on the attack on the social justice of the Supreme Court. The opposition is very quiet on the attack of the Election Commission. I mean, it bothers my mind. I mean,
thank you, Mr. Kunney.
Be so quiet in these violence acts. Only for them to raise violence when only a member of them, the opposition is not only for them, it's for the whole country.
Mr. Kunney, you can start new discussion now. You are concluding. Dr. Whapoe, your parting comment.
Cut me off.
Well, my departing comment here is that I do not want to allude to the speculation from Mr. Kunney. I'm going to leave it as it is. That is speculation. But my departing comment here to the Liberian people is that they are seeing the manner in which the country has been governed. They have seen how the policymakers of this nation, they have had the incapacitation of studying the intricacies of policy, both negative and positive, both cost and benefit. And whenever they make policy, it affects the Liberian people in a negative way. They've seen that. They've seen that this government is inept, is incompetent to lead them. the Liberian people. They know that the government inability to discharge its responsibility does not lead to the opposition becoming not the alternative of the Liberian people. The government should accept its responsibility and does what it's supposed to do for the Liberian people versus depending on opposition to showcase before the government move. That's not the responsibility of the opposition. I'm clear on this, and I continue to say that the responsibility of the opposition is to flag out ills in the society, and I like the government that these are your responsibility, XYZ, do it, and the government should be able to do it. Period. So if the government refuses to do that, we have the solution. We flag it. Do this. So you can be able to lead your people in the right direction. If the government doesn't do it, you cannot blame the opposition for that. Our responsibility is to lead it. We are not investigators to investigate to bring the cause of death, or whilst insecurity is a commonplace, a phenomenon in Liberia. It's not opposition responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, we want to let you know that we are now on Hot FM 107.9 in Monrovia. So tune in every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Liberia time, Thursday, 5 p.m. local time in Liberia, and Friday, 11 a.m. local time in Liberia. If you are in the United States or anywhere in the world, you can get this online by visiting www.hotfm1079.com or download the TuneIn app to listen. And definitely, you're going to like it. Dr. Whapoe, I don't know if you listened to your program in Monrovia.
Yeah, I was in class when it was being aired, and a lot of people listened to it, and I was informed about it.
And what was the feedback from the people?
I think they grade me A+, man.
Also, this Sunday, we're going to continue our show, This I Remember. This I Remember, this is where we talk about, we invite people to talk about their days in Liberia, what is it that you remember? And we had the first show, and people are saying, do it again, do it again, do it again. We like it. So tune in this Sunday at 6 o'clock for This I Remember.
Mr. John, man, you stay creative, huh?
Well, a lot of people here at Focus on Liberia, they help me. So
I like that. I know you to be a creative person anyway.
So good looking boy.
So gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I know this was Tough Talking Thursday. So now we started with Tabata Ordnan. Dr. Whapoe, tell me some of the things that will complete Tabata that we talk about.
Well, the harmonization is a Tabata in a superlative form.
Okay.
The bill to give free tuition is a half Tabata. The concept is good, but the way in which it's done without thorough research to give you the necessary figures so that you can make a law from it is a complete Tabata. It's a half Tabata in that way. The security of the nation, the government inability to secure the Liberian people, security apparatus, people being dying, they are not being investigated to bring the culprit to justice up to the present time. It's a complete Tabata. I don't know how the crew people will say when it's more than Tabata, how to say that is more than Tabata. So those are the Tapatious issues that we discussed tonight.
Mr. Kunney, you are crew. We're talking Tabatalism here.
Yeah, go.
What are some of the issues we listed tonight that you think complete Tabata? And here are the issues: harmonization, mysterious death, public tuition, and Dr. Cassell and the PLP.
The PLP is a complete Tabata to the last degree that Tabata.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this and you know what is Tabata, don't hesitate. Drop that in the comment. Conclude, Mr. Kunney.
The PLP is a complete Tabata to the last degree. The tuition is a mini. It's mini. It's not Tabata, but it's mini.
Mini Tabata? It's mini Tabata?
I say it's mini. Harmonization is excellent. It's a very good idea.
But the implementation is Tabata.
Huh?
The implementation is Tabata.
It's challenging. The implementation is challenging.
Okay.
The security situation is
and
worrying.
the response of the government, Tabata.
is worry.
Thank you so much. And gentlemen, thank you. We have a good time tonight. Join us next Thursday for Tough Talking Thursday. And if you are somewhere and you think you can talk tough, come here. Let's do it. We want to appreciate our people for watching.
Thank you, I enjoy the show with you, Doc. Thank you.
Always.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be with you guys, man.
Okay.
Yeah, keep it here. And we say good night and God bless you.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home. Liberia people. Liberia.